You're listening to Rolling Recklessly, the podcast where dice hit the floor, paint gets spilled, and no game ever goes exactly as planned. I'm Grizzly, and here we dive headfirst into Warhammer, tabletop gaming, and the beautiful mess that is the hobby life. From epic crits to absolute disasters, we'll cover it all. So grab your minis, roll with me, and let's get reckless. Hey everyone, welcome back to Rolling Recklessly. This is episode 1.5, a little bonus lore dive while Jesse is out this week. I didn't want to leave you all hanging, so I thought we'd take some time to explore the foundations of Age of Sigmar. Today we'll cover the End Times, the Age of Myth, and the Age of Chaos. The story of how we got from the destruction from the old world to the birth of the mortal realms. Think of it as a prequel episode to set the stage for everything that follows. Alright. Let's start from the end, literally. The Warhammer world didn't just fade out quietly. It collapsed into fire, chaos, and betrayal. We call it the End Times. The driving force was Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, champion of chaos. He unleashed a ritual beneath Middenheim that split the world apart, flooding it with uncontrolled chaos magic. His armies devastated across the old world, Ulthuan, Lustria, and the Empire, leaving no sanctuary. And while Archaon led the charge, there was another, often overlooked hand pulling the strings in the shadows, the Skaven. The Skaven didn't single-handedly cause the End Times, but they were a major contributing factor. Their action didn't just add to the destruction, they accelerated and compounded it. Pulling the moon closer, the Skaven manipulated the moon Morrslieb with warpstone, dragging it closer to the world. This rained down warpstone meteors, destabilizing the planet and disrupted the lizardmen's ability to foresee and prepare against the demonic invasions. Assault on the Empire. As chaos surged, the Skaven launched a massive invasion of the Empire. They overwhelmed defenses, infested cities, and consumed the entire provinces in a tide of plague and blades, conquering the lizardmen. In the south, the Skaven launched a full-scale war against the lizardmen, ultimately destroying Lustria, shattering one of the strongest bastions of order. Alliances with Archaon. Perhaps the most damning, the Skaven eventually allied with Archaon himself. They weren't just opportunists anymore, they became active participants in the apocalypse, joining the final battles that brought the world to its knees. The Horned Rat ascends. All of this culminating in the ascension of the Great Horned Rat. The Skaven's god rose to join the Pantheon of the ruinous powers, cementing their roles as not just scavengers, but as architects of chaos. So while chaos was the hammer that smashed the old world, the Skaven were the termites in the wood, gnawing, undermining, and ensuring that when the hammer finally struck, the world shattered completely. The result was annihilation. The old world cracked and was unmade, but from its fragments drifting through the void, something new took shape, the mortal realms. Each realm was born from the winds of magic, the very forces that coursed through the world that was. And clinging to one of those fragments, preserved against the darkness, was Sigmar himself, ready to begin the next age. The game Warhammer Fantasy takes place in the world that was, and is origins of many of the heroes and the gods in Age of Sigmar. From the shattered fragments of the old world came something entirely new, the mortal realms. Each realm was vast, magical, and infinite, formed around the winds of magic that once flowed through the world that was. Sigmar, still clinging to the core of malice, was adrift in a void when he was discovered by Dracothian, the great celestial star drake and god beast. Dracothian guided him to the mortal realms, showing him their boundless potential. This was the dawn of the Age of Myth. In this golden age, civilizations flourished. Humans, elves, dwarden, and countless others spread across the realms. Cities rose, knowledge and trade expanded. The promise of peace felt real for the first time since the End Times. But Sigmar didn't build this age alone. He sought out allies to help form the Pantheon of order, gods and godlike beings who would help guide the realms. This included Tyrion, Teclis, and Malarian, the elven gods, Grungi and Grimnir, the Dwarden brothers, Alariel, the goddess of life and mother of the Sylvaneth, and Nagash, the god of death. Nagash was no minor figure. He shaped Shaiish, the realm of death, into a vast necropolis. He commanded armies of the undead, raised monuments to his power, and sought to impose his law across the cycles of life and death. For a time, he worked alongside the Pantheon, though always with an agenda of his own. But cracks formed in the alliance. Grimnir perished in the battle with the salamander god-beast Volcatrix. Grungi withdrew, and Nagash, ever suspicious, eventually began to resent Sigmar's plans. When Sigmar started forging the Stormcast Eternals from mortal souls, Nagash saw it as theft, a direct violation over his dominion over death. Their alliances shattered, and Nagash withdrew into Shyish. So while the Age of Myth was golden, a time of unity, growth, and hope, it was also the beginning of fractures, rivalries, and betrayals that set the stage for the next great collapse. Out of that golden age came darkness. The forces of chaos had never truly gone away, they had only been banished beyond the veil. And when the Realmgates were rediscovered and opened, chaos found its way back in. At first, it was whispers, cults, and small demonic incursions, but it spread fast. The Realmgates became highways for demonic armies, and soon full legions poured into the realms. The Pantheon of Order, already fractured, could not hold them back. Nagash, consumed by his own ambitions, refused to aid Sigmar. Tyrion and Teclis pursued their own agendas. Malarian withdrew into Olgu, the realm of shadows. The unity that had defined the Age of Myth collapsed just when the realm needed it most. Thus began the Age of Chaos. Empire after empire was consumed. Entire realms were drowned in blood and demonic fire. Mortals were enslaved and or sacrificed. For centuries, the mortal realms were little more than hunting grounds for the ruinous powers. In Sigmar, he fought as long as he could, wielding Galmaraz and leading his armies across the countless battlefields. But even the God King could not withstand the endless tide. At last, Sigmar retreated to Azyr, sealing the gates. From his celestial fortress, he brooded, but he also prepared. In secret, he forged a new weapon of hope, the Stormcast Eternals. The realms burned, but Sigmar was not done. His reckoning would come with the Age of Sigmar, heralded by the Realmgate Wars, but that's for the next episode. So that's the foundation. The destruction of the old world, the rise of the mortal realms, and the tragic fall into chaos. Next time we'll move forward into the Realmgate Wars and the dawn of the Age of Sigmar itself. But before I go, I want to remind you about our very first giveaway. We're giving away 1 box of Nerdlings. These little guys are pretty special to me. When me and my girlfriend first got into Warhammer, I chose Sylvaneth and she chose Magakin of Nurgle. The Nerdlings were one of the first models that we kind of picked up together, so it felt right to make the prize our first community giveaway here on Rolling Recklessly. To enter, all you need to do is follow us on Instagram at Rolling Recklessly Podcast, like the giveaway post, tag 3 friends, and then comment your favorite Warhammer faction and why. There's also bonus entries if you can follow the podcast and share it in your stories. The giveaway runs for a month, so about October 1st, or until we hit 250 followers, US only. And coming up next, Jesse will be back with me as we dive back into a review of Spearhead, the brand new way to play Age of Sigmar. We'll break down our first games, share impressions, and we'll talk about what it can mean for the community. You don't want to miss out. Thanks for listening to this solo lore dive, and as always, may your crits be high, your paint never dry, and your rolls ever reckless.